Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin as we're heading into the weekend and after the daily candle close. I just want to start again here at the 4-hour chart and always try to combine these videos with a little bit of education because a lot of people are unfamiliar with technical analysis, unfamiliar with trading, and respect to everybody who's been working through this bear market and who's been following this channel or even other channels and who's been patient because we are moving up and it's starting to look really good. But I just wanted to emphasize again that Bitcoin hasn't given us any signal that the bear market low is in. In fact, we are still in a range, and we've been in a range since, you could say, June, August last year. Yes, we have. And you can even just show that here by moving up that line, that resistance line. We are stuck in a range. We're stuck in a range below 25.2k basically. If we get a move above that level, then it's getting more interesting, certainly. And also what we need is 5 waves up and 3 waves down. I did say that before because at the moment this could very easily be interpreted as a flat correction. A, B, C, and that C wave can even, that can even go into the high 20s. Yeah, we talked about that before, which is also why I said to you, I think last week or a few weeks ago, in my opinion, everybody should have at least some kind of a position here. 28k is the 1.618 extension. Yeah. So I mean, if anybody is at the moment here and has no position, it makes me very uncomfortable to hear that, because we could be at the end of the bear market. Nobody knows that, right? Nobody knows that, and Bitcoin could do some crazy stuff. Bitcoin could just rally through 30k, and what's then, right? So I hope most people have a position, or everybody, but obviously I cannot give you advice. I don't know your personal situation. Everybody's situation is different. I don't know your portfolio. I don't know your risk appetite. So only you can decide that for yourself, right? But we had obviously in this accumulation range, which clearly is and was and still is accumulation range, a lot of time to accumulate. And I think it's still not too late to DCA. Oh gosh, of course not. But obviously we are rallying now. We have rallied a lot. A lot of people hesitant to get in. But I mean, my view is if you don't have any position, why not get at least a little bit of exposure if you're interested in crypto and Bitcoin. But let's face it, only you can decide that. Only you can decide that. But what I wanted to emphasize here, that this could still and still could be an ABC correction. Yeah. And some people ask me, do I think the low is in? And I can tell you very clearly that I can't tell you. Nobody can. Yeah. There seem to be analysts who say that the low is in. Now, in my opinion, they can do that, but they set up people up for failure. While they could be correct, there is at the moment no way to say that. And I'm always very careful not to give out the impression that I would know the future, because nobody does, okay? And also Elliott waves don't know the future. In fact, the Elliott wave count is being followed nicely here. We've been talking about this upside since middle of December and had a few questions again, would be nice if the count worked out and wouldn't be changed all the time. Well, to be fair, this uptrend was already forecasted since middle of December. Yeah, maybe not that high, but obviously you can only go to the first target and we need to take it from there, right? But we talked about Bitcoin making higher highs here since the middle of December when we were down here in the range. And it has been working out nicely, and we had a lot of nice entry points for everybody who chose to follow it. But what you need to understand is, like I would have to change trend lines when I use other methods of analysis, or while I would need to change support resistance lines as the price story is written, I have to change the wave count as well. I don't know why Elliott waves always seem to give the impression that they have to be static. They, of course, are not static. They are dynamic the same way as the price is moving all the time, because I can only use the data I have in the chart. And when new price information, new data is coming in, I have to change the count sometimes. That's only natural. That's business as usual. I try to promote here a view of Elliott wave And I don't know if that's unique, or I don't know why so many people think Elliott Wave is, predicting the future. It certainly has a predictive element in that the counts can give you targets. And in an impulse especially, it sometimes can feel like magic the way the price is developing, yeah? But in corrections, not really. So you have to change the counts frequently. I don't like the view of this is my primary count, this is my alternate count. I sometimes use it. You know that I sometimes use it. But it is dangerous. It's dangerous for people who are not so experienced. No disrespect. Everybody started somewhere. But it's sometimes difficult because a lot of people, what would you, if I tell you this is my primary count here, we are going to go up in 5 waves, and maybe we get the wave 2, you would just simply trade it. Simply without looking at your risk management, you would just go long because I tell you, okay, we can go higher in wave 3, 4, 5. Yeah, at that point, somewhere we come down in wave 2 and would go up. This is pointless. This is so pointless. And that's because it's so dangerous to say, the bear market low is in, because people, if they are naive or just follow someone, they would just go in. Yeah. In fact, I try to promote a view here of Elliott Wave where you should not trade the count, because there could be an alternate count. There is always an alternate count. Yeah. You should trade those support areas, the resistance areas, scale into support. Yeah. Scale out of resistance. Sometimes when the alternate count shows a pivot point and the price is closer to the pivot point, then it makes sense to trade the alternate count, because you trade where your risk is lower. You don't trade the count, you should trade the pivot points. And if the chart puts the alternate count into a more favorable position, not necessarily higher probability to work out, but in a position where the risk for an entry is lower, then you should choose that. Okay, so that's why I don't like the view. This is my primary, this is my alternate. What would the point be if I tell you my primary expectation is that the bear market low is already in? What's the point? There's no point. The edge is to be found on the lower time frame, where we identify the support areas and the resistance areas. And also they can change, of course, but I feel they've worked out massively well. They've worked out really well. We even had down here 3 support areas that I took them off the chart already. They all worked out. We had one here. We had several, and that's why it makes sense to trade these support. And even here, the latest ones worked out as well. The orange one and the green one here. Even though it has so far failed to rally impulsively, anybody who entered in this area, you can move up your stop loss. So I sometimes don't understand these comments, and people don't listen, or they, of course the count changes in this correction all the time, because I don't know in the beginning if it's going to be an ABC or if it's going to be an ABCDE, but this is still the pivot point. This is the decision point. This is the support area. So ideally scaling in here, would have made you some money. You could have scaled out here or moved up the stop loss, and you would still be in profit. Also in this area, which was the new smaller area that I gave you, you would be in profit. And at some point, as I said, these will break. And however, until that time or until that moment, you can make money with, trading pivot points. We had one here, one here, one here. I honestly cannot remember in this entire move up that any of these support areas failed or broke. There might have been one. I can't remember it. I think there wasn't. I think they all held, and they all allowed you to trade. Some, maybe we didn't reach, maybe we missed the odd trade or so, but that is just life. But I think, this is what we need to, that's where we look into the lower time frame. That's where the edge is being found. And that's where eventually we will find out if the bear market low was in or not. But there is no way to say it now, because that story is just being written. Okay, so I'm not crystal balling here. Nobody is. Some people try to, but it gives people the wrong impressions. Okay, so so here as well, when we get these 5 waves up, which could just be a C wave, we can really only say with a high likelihood that the bottom is in when we get this ABC wave down and the pullback in wave 2. So that will be another great entry point. But before that, we should get an entry point in wave 4. Now again, we haven't even seen that 4th wave, so Bitcoin could still go higher to 25k, yeah, maybe even 25.2. Bear in mind there will be key resistance up there, and only then come down in wave 4. That's why I told you now, I think also yesterday I put it out to the channel members that I personally find it a good idea to scale up, in this area here. No financial advice, but anybody who did that might already be in slight profit. I don't know. But, and then you can decide to use a stop loss or not. Again, that's an individual decision, depending if you use leverage or whatever. But yeah, anyway, there is more to trading than just analysis, right? Okay, but the count hasn't changed. Hey, count hasn't changed. We are actually above this support area, yeah. But, if this is now going to work out as a third wave up or whatever, I don't know at this stage. That's sort of the forecast, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, this could still be part of a corrective wave. We could, in fact, still be in some kind of a weird wave 4 structure, but it doesn't matter, because if you're trading this and you entered here in this pivot point, decision point, support area, you can just move up your stop loss. If it breaks down, nobody cares, and you shouldn't care, because you get stopped out either in slight profit or neutral, cost neutral, and then you can just re-enter lower if you like to. Because at the moment it doesn't really make a very bullish impression. Now it doesn't need to, because it is an ending diagonal here probably. Yeah, said to you in the previous video, if it goes up from here, and it's broken that trend line by the way now, and retested, flipped it for support. If it moves up from here, then the best way forward would be in an ending diagonal, given that there's a good chance the bulls get exhausted here, and that also, with that move up here, which I count currently as a wave 1 of that wave 5, that was most likely just a corrective move up, correction down, yeah, now maybe the correction up here. That's why it's not impulsive. But yeah, so that's what I'm following. Can't really give you clear targets at the moment, because if this is a diagonal pattern, it normally doesn't really adhere very well to fib extensions. But it should certainly, so next target, by the way, or next resistance area would be the 23.8k level, this wave 1 high. And then it should get to this sort of wedge, but that might be 24.5. It's obviously not a very well defined trend line here, because we have only one touch point really, but I kind of made it up. But that's normally what you do in a diagonal. Yeah, you get some kind of a wedge pattern. So maybe here at least you've got 2 touch points. So it might go to around about 24.5k. Yeah. So at the moment it's going according to plan. As soon as we drop here below the 22k level, we should get into this wave 4 support area, which would be the next decision point. And yeah, so it's looking good so far for Bitcoin. Hope we get not too much of a boring weekend. And then yeah, hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.